Okay, today we're going to be covering what's new in AiDA. I'll take you through AiDA and CaseWare Working Papers. We've got Sandhani that will take you through Probe, Audit International and IDEA. And we've got Linka that will take us through the financial statements. So let's get straight into it. Okay, I am very, very excited to announce that we at CaseWare Africa will be making our CaseWare AiDA artificial intelligence chatbot available to all users with this release of the software. Anybody who's been following us will know that we did have an early adopter phase of AiDA during the course of the year. It was officially launched at our CaseWare X event. But with this release, we're going to be making it available on all users that are integrated with CaseWare Cloud. So I just want to take some time to just recap on what is AiDA. I think for anybody that might have missed the CaseWare X or our What's New webinar on AiDA specifically, but CaseWare AiDA is a chatbot, AI chatbot that's built into CaseWare Working Papers. It's also built into your CaseWare Cloud apps, your smart engagement files, and there's a standalone version of it. And you can use it to ask questions on CaseWare specific topics. For example, how do I import a trial balance? How do I map an account? And it's really intended to bring AI into your practice. Now, there was a couple of rules that we had to follow before we brought AiDA into your practices. I think I want to cover that first before we get into actually showing a bit of AiDA and what latest features within it. So with AI, it's very important to responsibly implement AiDA. I think what we've seen in the market is that you've got many AI tools available to you. So there's ChatGPT, there's Grok, and all users in all firms are experimenting and trying to use different versions of it. And what we've noticed is, especially with all the free versions of AiDA or any AI solution, is that the data that's transmitted to those AI servers is actually not protected. And it can be used to train other AI models. And that's a huge risk. If you as an audit firm are working on sensitive information, for example, you auditing a listed company, and that information has to get out into the public sphere before the results are published, that's a huge risk. So we've taken those types of scenarios into account to give you the risk-averse way of implementing AI into your business. So first and foremost, I think we've created AiDA and making it available to everybody, and there will be a free version of AiDA, which is the basic chat interface, and that's what you're going to see today. But that free version does make sure that all your data is protected and secure. So when we say we went through the entire AI process and looked at all the different pain points, and we compared CaseWare AiDA to all the public AI tools out there. So from a data storage location, all the data is stored within your cloud. Any chat or any question that's asked to a chatbot is never saved anywhere. So that data can never be used to train any other AI models. Our solution is also POPIA compliant, GDPR compliant, CCPA compliant, so that you can use it in fully compliant with the Protection of Information Act. We've also implemented some safeguards within AiDA just to make it answer more as an accountant and auditor. So if you ask it how to fry an egg or any food-related question, it's not really going to give you a good answer back. But we've put guardrails in place and gave it the hat of an accountant and auditor, so it gives you the right tailored answers back. So the risk of data leakage is very minimal. It's a closed ecosystem. We undergo over and above having our normal SOC 2 cloud certifications. We also get AI certifications to ensure that the data stays within the closed ecosystem, so none of the data can be leaked. And it's explicit and controlled. You can enable it only for specific users in your organization. You don't have to give it to everybody. I think we wanted to do the right thing and give you a safe way of implementing AI in your organization. By this release, you'll see AiDA in yours as an app under all your users, and you can allocate the appropriate users to test and use AiDA. Of course, there's no risk in you enabling it for all your users. Okay, so I think from a risk implementation point of view, AiDA, we've taken that approach to make sure that you give you the most risk-averse solution possible, and it's safe to implement in your organizations. So with AiDA, I'm going to jump straight into the latest and greatest feature that we've added at the beginning of this week. So we've added a concept of custom knowledge bases. So what I mean by that, and I'm quickly going to jump to a CaseWare Cloud instance that has CaseWare AiDA enabled already. If you had to go to the settings page as the firm admin, you would see a new option called CaseWare AiDA and knowledge bases. When you click on knowledge bases, it's going to give you this screen. Now, just to take a step back, the concept of knowledge bases is for us to enable you to lead AiDA in answering a question. So for example, on screen, I've attached ABC Firm's audit guidelines for 2025 as a knowledge base. What that means is that when a user is asking a question, he can tell AiDA, when he's asking the question, to give me an answer specifically from the ABC Firm guidelines. And you can add as many knowledge bases as you like. So in this example, I'm going to do ABC Firm IFRS 17 interpretation, maybe. And it's as simple as going to your folder, selecting the PDF document that you want to train AiDA on, and you select the products that this knowledge base must be made available in. So here you'll be able to see all the products that are available on your CaseWare Cloud instance. In this example, I'm just going to tick Working Papers, and I'm going to click on Save. Now you'll see there's a circular icon here. What that means is it's busy training the AI on that data. So it's basically opening up the document, reading it, and adding it to a knowledge base. So this would end up, once the circle is completed, it'll end up it'll be available in your chat interface. So when you go to your chat interface and you ask AiDA a question, you'd be able to say, please answer this question based off either the ABC Firm audit guidelines or the IFRS 17 interpretation, or both or all. You really have that level of flexibility when it comes to influencing AiDA. And this is a major win. So we're asking people to test it out now. We will be releasing this and making AiDA available across all users that are integrated with CaseWare Cloud. And we're really hopeful that this is going to add tremendous benefit to your organization. Just from a roadmap point of view, I think we're always improving AiDA. And the next thing that we're doing is we're working on introducing an MCP server, where over and above asking AiDA questions and giving it answers, you could tell AiDA to do things. So don't hold me to it. We're busy trying it at the moment, but we really see this as a massive efficiency gain once implemented. And towards the end of next year, you'll really start seeing these efficiencies come through AiDA. Excellent. Okay, so just to recap, AiDA is going to be made available in this release. It's going to be available to only clients that are integrated with CaseWare Cloud. You will have the option to enable it at all or not enable it. And then over and above that, you'll be able to enable it for specific users only or the whole firm. So you've got total control, and you can rest assured that you're using AI in the most risk-averse way possible. To help you on the journey, actually, I do want to mention one more thing, is that we have created a Getting Started guide, where it'll show you exactly how to set up AiDA, how to use the different versions of AiDA. So if you wanted to use the standalone version, or the version which is in one of our cloud apps, or if you want to use it on the Working Papers file itself, You have the steps on how to do that. Further to that, we go into detail on how to summarize the document. For anybody that hasn't seen it, we'll make the release webinar of AiDA available when we send the What's New mailer, because there we go into a lot more detail. I think we took an hour to cover what's in AiDA. And if you missed that, we'll send that as part of the What's New mailer, so that you can rewatch that or watch it for the first time. But essentially, summarizing a document is a powerful feature which lets you summarize a PDF. So you've got 10 lease agreements. You can ask AiDA to quickly summarize it so you get understanding quickly of what's in those documents. Further to that, we've given you an effective way of how to write a prompt. We use the STAR method. So we give you some guidance on that, and there's some frequently asked questions. So we are really setting you up to use and start gaining experience of helping or using AI to gain efficiencies in your product. Okay. With that, I'm going to leave AiDA there because we can talk about her for a long time. And we're going to go into the CaseWare Working Papers part of the What's New. Okay. So the first and most important, or one of the most important changes when it comes to CaseWare Working Papers 2025 is license management. So we heard from you guys that you'll have a problem understanding who's using all your licenses. So, and previously we had the option in the success community where you could download a list of all your registered users. So we've enabled that again, and we've taken it a step further. And that's what I'm going to show you now. So for license management, you'll notice that if you go to the My Licenses screen, we've added this new option in the Success community called License Assignment. When you click on License Assignment, it'll open up your license assignment page. And this page lets you do a couple of things. It lets you see okay, wait, let me start at the beginning. This is a very interactive page, and you can literally drag the headers up and group it to suit your needs. So in this instance, I want to see what I'm licensed for. So this is Mohammed Asmal. My company has bought Probe Audit, Company SME, Probe Compilation, Probe Review, and Company IFRS. And these are the number of licenses I have per product. I can see in this column that I am allocated to Probe Audit, Company IFRS, Probe Compilation, Company IFRS, and I'm not allocated to Probe Review. So what you'll be able to do going forward is you'll be able to buy licenses at a user level for Probe. For the financial statements for this release, it's going to be at the moment at a firm level. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to see who should be using what license. You have the ability to export the view, and you have the ability to download all your registered working paper users. So I'm quickly going to download all the registered working paper users. And it's going to open up an Excel file. I'm going to quickly drag this Excel file to my new screen. And this is the view that you should be used to. This is the old Excel that you'll used to get when you went into the Success community. It literally gives you a list for this authorization code that I'm using in my organization. This is the email address of the people that are using it. This is the host name. This is the username. This is the locking code of the PC. Another important change, which is instrumental in making this entire journey work, is the fact that we've made sure that you can only, you have to fill in a username, email address, and name when you're installing Working Papers. So when you install Papers, you won't be able to go past the screen without filling in a username and email address. I think that's one of the biggest changes that we've introduced with Working Papers. It might be slightly different, but it was all in an effort to make sure that you as a firm champion or you as a owner of an audit firm can see exactly who's using your licenses. So I just want to jump back to the licensing portal. And I just want to show you the effect of this allocation if it's ticked or not ticked. So I'm going to untick myself for company financial statements. So I just want you to notice that I've got a company financial statements open for IFRS, and I'm going to untick myself. So I'm basically going to unallocate myself. If I now try to open up that set of financial statements, it's going to not let me in. It's going to give me a message saying that I don't have a license allocated to me. So most of our users have the same number of licenses across all our products. So what this means, we were able to leverage that. Before I get into that part of the story, I just want to show you the message that they get. So we have detected that you do not have a company SME license. Please contact your firm administrator to allocate you a license. It will, however, still open up the financial statements. It will just be in a locked state. So here you see it says locked in the bottom right-hand corner, and I won't be able to do anything in this file. However, if I come back to the license assignment screen, and if I allocate myself to company SME, and if I open it up again, it's going to let me in without having any issues. So I'm just waiting for the file to open up at the moment. So there's a couple of things I think that's going to be important to note to make this work. It's the authorization code that you use in your firm has to be the same across all your users. I think so we're going to be implementing this from January next year on your renewals. What that means is that you will be able, when you renew, you'll be able to just relook at the number of licenses you have. You'll be able to make sure that you have the right number of licenses, and we will only give you one authorization code, which you need to use throughout your organization. If anybody in your organization is using a different authorization code, this will bring that to the fore and will force you guys to come over to the correct authorization code. So where in the past our authorization codes used to be linked to your prior authorization code, for going forward from the end of January renewals, you'll only get one authorization code, which will work for the entire year. It's a really seamless experience. You get the same experience from a probe perspective. I'm not going to show you that now, but just in the interest of time. But I think that's the important changes when it comes to license assignment. So just to recap on that, from a license assignment point of view, at the end, whoever's renewal is at the end of January 2026, we'll work with you guys to make sure that you have the correct authorization code in place, and that you are aware that you need to make sure that one authorization code is used by all the users in your organization, and then you'll be able to leverage this functionality completely. The other important thing to note that this license assignment only works for files that are on the 2025 version going forward. If you're on the 2024 version or prior, it'll still use the old license assignment way. So you really won't get the benefit. So if you want the benefit of this, you really must move over to 2025. Okay, so that's the first change, or the first two changes, license assignment and installation. On installation, we have made some other improvements. So I'm going to take you through that now. So the first thing I think that I want you to be aware of is on the silent install. So when you go to the community, I'm going to go back to the community quickly. And you go to My Software. We've introduced this new button, Get Silent Installer. When you click it, it's going to automatically create you a silent install. So we're giving you the ability to self-serve. Previously, if you wanted a silent install, you'd phone our support department, you'd wait about 1, 2, or 3 days for them to prepare the silent install for you, and then you'd get it and you'd be able to distribute it through your organization. We felt that was quite inefficient. We felt there was a way to automate it, so that's what we've done. It's now really as simple as logging into your community page, clicking the Get Silent Install button. It'll take all the templates that you've purchased and your working papers and your connectors. It'll put it all together into one file that you can download and distribute. Once it's downloaded, you also have the ability to swap out our standard template with your custom firm template. So it's as easy as just deleting our one and copying your one in. So I think that's a major win for you guys. And I really hope a lot of you all that use Silent Install are aware of it and get the benefit of using this feature. Okay. So for Silent Install, major change there, you can self-serve and quickly get the Silent Install whenever you'll need it. Another big change that we've made from an installation point of view is that we've given you the ability to add your custom firm template to the normal installer. So I'm going to quickly open up the normal installer just to show you what I mean. Okay, so on screen, you've got the normal installer. I've already downloaded CaseWare Working Papers and SME English as an example. And what you'll notice here now is that we've introduced this new button. It's called Replace Template. When you click it, it's going to identify that you've got one replaceable template. So in this case, it's the SME template. If you had IFRS, if you had SME, if you had like public sector templates and you were doing firm templates, you'd see them all in this list. You then just have to browse for your existing template and upload it here and click on Replace. When you click on Replace, it'll delete our one, it'll upload your one into the distributable so that you can take that one file and give it to everybody in the firm. What that would enable is that they'd get the right version of working papers, the right version of connector, the right version of your custom firm templates, all in one simple installation. Whereas so this disjointed process that we did have, where you could only install our standard templates, and then you had a secondary process to install your firm templates, we've joined them now and made it into one. So we're really expecting some efficiency gains here again. And that's the common theme with anything that we do, is that we really want to make you all more productive. So I've taken you through now from the license assignment, I've taken you through the working paper change, in terms of you have to fill in your email address and username. I've taken you through the silent install. I've taken you through the way that you can replace your firm template in the normal installer. You can also do it in the silent install. So there's a couple of fundamental changes before you actually get into the software to make that journey easier. Now we're going to move on to the changes that we've made within the software. So, and we're still sticking with the same theme of efficiency, which is a key theme for us. What you'll notice now is that we've created a new file wizard. So this was an existing screen, which you always had, where when you did a file new from existing or you did a file new, you popped up a screen asking you if you want to retain data from the info store, if you want to retain the formatting from the existing file, if you want to retain input values, if you want to perform a year-end close. So those options remain exactly the same. The UI is looking slightly different. It's a bit more modern. It's a bit more prettier, but the options that you used to select work exactly the same way. However, we did introduce one more option. It's called engagement optimization. So we always trying to make you all as efficient as possible. The engagement optimization is a feature to make your file size smaller. When your file size is smaller, a couple of things happen. There's less things that it needs to sync up if you are publishing to the cloud or if you're creating a sync copy. So that process is going to be faster. If you're doing a roll forward, there's less documents for it to open to move your current year to your prior. So that process is going to be faster. We noticed that we were putting everything into one template. So you had all your financial statements and all the different entity types. You had all your probe, whether you're doing an audit, a review, or compilation. You had, if for example, you're doing a compilation, you had access to all the review and audit documents in that file, which made that file substantially bigger, and it took substantially longer to do some of the standard processes within working papers. So now, when you create the file, we're going to ask you what type of engagement is it? And you'd be able to select if it's a compilation, or if it's an audit, or if it's a review, if it's a compilation or and review, etc. When you make that selection and click on continue, you're going to end up with an optimized file. So now I'm going to show you what I mean by an optimized file. So for example, this demo file I've created, and it was a file new from existing. And there's a couple of things that I want you to note here. Because I selected it's an audit file, it removed all the compilation engagements. So wherever you see practitioner sign-off dash optimized, it does mean that this document has been taken out of the file. And by virtue of doing that, you only have the documents that you need to complete the file, which makes the file faster. Ultimately, we've extended this even further to interact with your trial balance, and it's going to delete some of the work programs that that's not needed in your file, but Sandhani will take you through that in her part of the presentation. I think then the only other thing I do want to mention is that the optimization feature is going to provide you efficiency gains again. It's a key theme with this release. We're always trying to do things that make it easier for you to and faster for you to work with our software. And we're seeing a lot of benefit you'll see a lot of benefit when you start using this feature. The other change that we made within the software is from a firm champion perspective when they're creating the firm template. So we did have a feature we introduced a feature in the last release to make it easier for you to customize your firm template. I'm going to show you that feature now. So in a set of financial statements, if you have the firm template guide, which is downloadable from the Success community in your document manager, because you typically drag and drop it into your financial statements, you have the ability now to copy an existing section. So what used to happen in the past is that it was a bit difficult. You had to go into design mode, you had to copy a section, and you had to go change the GUIDs, you had to delink it from the CV database, etc., etc. It was quite a inefficient way of working, and that's when we introduced just the ability to copy an existing section. So if you go to the super insert and you've got the firm template guide in your file, you'll see this new menu option, insert copy of existing section on this page. How it works is you identify the section you want to copy. So I'm going to go and copy this holding company section. I'm just going to double click on the section label. So I went to right click properties. I double clicked on that. It copied rep owner 52. So that's the name that we use in the background to identify that section. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to say, I want to copy that section and put it after the section I'm standing on. So that's the new part, the before and the after. Previously, when we used copy of existing section, you all felt that it wasn't inserting it in the correct place. With this, it gives you more flexibility in where it can be inserted. So just as easily as that, it's taken that holding company, made a copy of it, put it after the section I was standing on, and it's delinked everything from the CV database, made all the design mode changes that it needed to, so that you can easily customize the section to suit your needs. So that's another big change that we've introduced within the template itself. Looking forward to feedback on it. I think we want to make the before and after and add another function feature there called within for the next release, but add it to the normal menu items on the super insert so that everybody can get this benefit. For example, we know if you're inserting like a subheader in the accounting policies, it goes right to the bottom where you'd like more controlling where it goes. We'll get feedback from the firm champion and see if we can implement this functionality in next release on the normal super insert. Okay, then on to one more feature that we've introduced, and that's on lockdown monitoring. So there's a couple of things I want to mention here. I think the problem that we tried to solve here was that everybody in the or all auditors in the organization needed to lock down a file within 60 days of the assurance report date. And it was very hard for you guys to track whether you were locking it down within the 60 days or not. So what we've done is we've created the ability for you to see the assurance report date that's set in the info store in a view in CaseWare Cloud. So in CaseWare Cloud, for anybody that's not familiar, you have the ability to create custom views. In this instance, I've created a lockdown monitoring view. When you create a view, you can specify what columns you want to see. And I've included the operating name, the client number, the year end, the assurance report date, the lockdown status, and the lockdown date. What that does is it lets you at a glance see if your file has been locked down within the 60 days. So for example, in this instance, we can see that the assurance report date was the 29th of June. This file was locked down on the 29th of July. So that means it was locked down within almost 30 days. So it was locked down in time. However, this file, which had an assurance report date on the 30th of July, has passed lockdown date. So it was supposed to be locked down at the end of September. We're already on the 10th of October. So this is past the lockdown date. So I want to quickly show you how it works. So I'm going to jump back to the financial statements. I am going to open up the info store. So it's quickly opening up the info store. I just want you to take note that this company is called SME Demo October 25. So if we find SME Demo October 25, it's this file here. And as you can see, it's got currently has a assurance report date of 30th of November 2025. So we're going to jump to the date section in our info store. And I'm going to make this the 31st of December 2025. And I'm going to save the info store. And I'm going to quickly jump back to CaseWare Cloud. And we're going to expect for this file, this assurance report date to change to December 2025. So I'm going to quickly refresh the page. It does take about 30 seconds to a minute to reflect. In this case, it was much sooner, but as you can see, that is exactly the same date that you specified in your info store is now available to you in the view in CaseWare Cloud. So this is really intended to really make a difference in helping you all track whether you'll lock the file down in time. For anybody that's interested and in taking this a bit further and getting more detailed reports, we have our Sherlock product. In the Sherlock product, we've taken this a step further in terms of we've created a dashboard for you to monitor lockdown dates. That product it lets us do things that we can't do here. So it'll automatically calculate based off your assurance report date when the file should be locked down. It'll categorize your files into green, whether it's locked down in time, orange, where it's you've got 20 days to lock down the file remaining, so you really need to concentrate on getting that file locked down, or it'll give you a status of red telling you you've passed the lockdown date, so you get a clear indication. Further to that, once you identify, for example, files that need to be locked down within the next 20 days, we make available to you the history of that file, so you can track down the users in that file, so you can go to the users and ask them if this file is ready for lockdown. But further to that, over and above being able to identify the team that's been working on the file, you'll be able to also view whether the sign-offs in that file is the financial statement side off. Has it been sent for signature? So you'll be able to get a high-level overview of the progress and whether it's actually ready for lockdown or not. and will give you insights into if there's any outstanding issues in that file. So from one simple dashboard, you're able to properly control that everything gets locked down on time and within 60 days. Okay, with that, I know I've said a lot. I'm quickly going to check for questions that might have popped up. Just trying to get to the questions interface here. Doesn't seem to be any questions. Am I reading that right? Huh? In the chat. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of AI read assistance on the meeting. Can't view any data in the license assignment. For your license assignment, if you're not viewing any, if you currently can't see any information on it, there might be a discrepancy in the auth code that we've given you versus the auth code that you're using in your firm. So as we process the renewals from January next year, we'll work with you to make sure that you're using the correct auth code in your firm, and that auth code is rolled out to all your users so that you see everything populated correctly on the license assignment screen. You're more than welcome to reach out to me if you want to if we can go through it in more detail, or I can reach out to you. I think I've got your name here. Thanks very much. What is silent install? A silent install is basically, for anybody that's not familiar with it, it lets you distribute all the software to everybody in your firm at a specific date and time through the group policies in your through your IT department. So your IT department can set group policies. A policy could be that on the date of 10th of October, when everybody starts turning on their laptops, you need to install CaseWare Working Papers. You need to install all the CaseWare software. So the silent install makes it easy for your IT team to deploy the software silently without your users knowing from a specific date and time. And then you can target specific users and that type of thing. There is more information on that on the community page. So where you click on create silent install, if you looked at the left, there's more information on the silent install over there as well. Are we able to include multiple templates? Yes, you are able to include multiple templates in either your silent install or your distributable. I know in my example, I only had the SME template, but you could easily have IFRS and SME in there. And maybe some firms only do a firm template just for SME, so they can replace just that one and leave our standard IFRS template in there. You really have the flexibility to do whatever you want to do. Does the firm template have to be of the latest version? So yes, we do encourage all firm templates to be on the latest version. Reason being that we actually stop supporting versions after 2 versions back. And we really don't want you to get too far behind. Technically, it doesn't have to be the latest version, but it's always best practice to be the latest version. Just scrolling down a bit. Will you have the option to have both compilation and audit engagement in one file? Yes, we do. I haven't shown you all 5 different options, but you do have the ability to see compilation and audit in one file. Can we do the engagement optimization on current CaseWare files, or only when creating new files? So currently, it's when you move over to the 2025 templates, it'll only be on file new and file new from existing. is AiDA available for CaseWare Cloud? So let me just take a moment to explain AiDA again. So AiDA is available on CaseWare Cloud for any user that's integrated with CaseWare Cloud. So if you're not using CaseWare Cloud, you're just using CaseWare without CaseWare Cloud, you won't have access to AiDA. And within CaseWare Cloud, there is a standalone version. The standalone version basically is just a chatbot, and you can just ask it questions, and that's available on CaseWare Cloud. If you use AiDA within one of the cloud apps like Review, ISRE Review, or any other cloud app, or Probe, you'd be able to also use it within that cloud app. So it is available in CaseWare Cloud standalone and then within the SE apps as well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited this morning to take you through what's coming up next week for Probe, Audit International, and IDEA. Let's start with Probe. For Probe, there are no major compliance updates for the 2025 version, which has allowed us to really focus on trying to improve the product by speeding it up and adding a few new features. First off, we have the optimizer, which is our speed improvement feature that removes any unnecessary work programs in your audit file to save on data and background calculation capacity. Then we have a new feature in planning that allows you to select COT ABDs as qualitatively material based on qualitative factors. The ROM calculation has also been updated for this. We have made some amendments to the procedures throughout Probe to comply with the new Companies Act amendments for South African entities. And lastly, we have made 2 changes based on the IRBA Inspection Report 2024, specifically to enhance compliance relating to IPE, or information produced by the entity, and ITGCs, or IT General Controls. So let's look at the optimizer in a bit more detail. The objective here is to increase the speed and efficiency throughout your audit engagement files. Note that this is different to the file optimizer that Mo took you through, as this optimizer is only for Probe audit engagement files. It uses the trial balance that you imported to mark COT ABDs as enabled or disabled automatically based on whether they have balances or not. Once you click the Optimize button, it then makes all non-relevant work programs blank. Every time a new trial balance is uploaded, or there's a change to a trial balance, or there's a new section enabled or disabled, the optimizer should be run again to either optimize out or restore the relevant sections. So let's look at document 1051, types and volumes of transactions. Once your trial balance is imported, COT ABDs are automatically enabled in white or disabled in blue, according to those items that have balances. You can then manually enable any additional sections. You'll now see that there's a new button on 1051 called Optimize. When you're ready, simply click the Optimize button to remove all of the procedures and the data from the work programs of the COT ABDs that are disabled from the file. After optimizing, when I enable a new COT ABD, in this case Goodwill, you will see that a yellow bar warning will appear at the top of all of your Probe documents to warn you to optimize again, this time to restore the procedures and the data within the newly enabled work program. Any changes to the trial balance will trigger the yellow bar warning in all of your Probe documents to remind you to optimize again. However, if a new trial balance is imported, the yellow bar warning will not appear, but best practice is to re-optimize every time a new trial balance is imported into the file. Please note that any custom procedures from your firm template will not be restored once optimized out, so be mindful of this when you're using the optimizer for your audit engagement files. Once you click Optimize, you will first see a pop-up requesting that all your Probe work programs are closed before you're able to proceed. Once you've accepted, the optimizer will run. You'll get a message to confirm that the optimizer has run successfully. It'll take a couple of seconds. In your Probe template scripts folder, there's also a full audit trail of all of the documents that have been optimized out with the date and times, as well as a full audit trail of all of the documents that have been restored. So that's always there for you if you need to refer to it. Once you've optimized your document library, your document library will basically look the same, and all of the work programs will appear. However, those that have been optimized out will now state so in the document title, and it will have a different icon. For those of you who use tags, a tag will also be added called optimized. Note again that this is different from the engagement optimizer that Mo introduced, which optimizes out documents throughout the file, depending on the engagement type. In this instance, you can see that because I'm in an audit engagement file, the review planning section documents have been optimized out. This has been done by the engagement optimizer, and this cannot be restored. Note that all engagement types will still be available in the dropdown in document 1020. Okay, let's move on to our new qualitatively material feature. The objective of this feature is to really allow you to assess COT ABDs as qualitatively material to tailor your approach based on qualitative factors. It enhances your compliance with ISO 320. We have also updated the ROM calculation to take this into account. Note that the quantitatively material tick or the qualitatively material tick box will only appear for COT ABDs which are not already quantitatively material. You can see the new tick box in document 1160, which is your risk assessment at assertion level document. For COT ABDs which are not already qualitatively material, such as investment property in this example, you will see that a new question and related tick box has automatically been enabled. If you tick this, the template will treat investment property the same way as if it were qualitatively and quantitatively material in your work programs. From a content perspective, like I've mentioned, we've made some updates to the companies based on the Companies Act amendments within Probe. These obviously only impact South African entities. The amendments were signed into law in July 2024 and came into effect in December 2024. So relevant procedures throughout the template have been updated. And with our final release next week, we will be including a document which outlines where these amendments have been developed within Probe so that you can refer to it easily. Lastly, the final changes we have made have come from the IFRS inspection report. Each year, we review the regulatory reports to simply identify if there have been any content corrections that need to be made, or any improvement areas where we could make compliance easier for you. The 2024 report did not reveal any content corrections, but we did identify two main areas where we can make compliance more effective. The first area relates to IPE, or information produced by the entity. So IFRS findings stated that audit documentation lacks evidence of testing the accuracy and completeness of those system-generated source information. In our current version of Probe, you are required to document how the completeness and the accuracy of the population from which the items were selected were verified. However, in the new version, we have reinforced the compliance by requesting you to now firstly document whether IPE will be used in planning and in the testing phases. And secondly, where IPE is used, procedures will now appear both in planning and in the execution phases to test the completeness and the accuracy of that IPE. The second area we identified is IT general controls, or ITGCs. IFRS found that there has been inappropriate reliance on application controls without testing the related ITGCs, and that there's an application of a control-based audit approach without a proper ITGC function. So in the current version of Probe, we require you to obtain an understanding of the IT environment, determine whether there's the COT ABD related controls that are automated, and to identify ITGCs for those IT related risks. And then to test the ITGCs if reliance is intended. In the new version, how we've reinforced compliance is by adding in new conclusion questions to 1220, which is your audit plan and strategy, 1910, which is your ITGC work program, and all the COT ABD work programs to prompt consideration of the appropriate reliance on ITGCs. Okay, that was it for the probe release. Let's move on to Audit International. For Audit International, this is a small release with some minor content updates. The first update is for changes and new amendments to ISA 700, which is forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements, and ISA 260, which is communication with those charged with governance. The second change is so these are the changes that have been made. Firstly, the second change is then to remove all of the content related to the old ISA 220, including that of EQR and the ISA 220 tag. The third and the final change is to accommodate the South African Companies Act amendments, and all of the impacted documents are on screen in front of you now for each of these changes, and they will also be detailed in the release notes once we release the new version next week. And finally, let's move on to IDEA. We are releasing a new version of IDEA, version 13.1, which includes a new and exciting dashboard feature. The dashboard feature allows you to build these rich, customizable dashboards easily and enables you to deliver those impactful data-driven insights as part of your engagements. The dashboard feature can be found under the Analysis tab within IDEA. We've also continued to improve on the Easy add-ons. We are releasing a new version of the Easy Import tool, which will allow you to import data from your client's financial systems with more ease. We are then also publishing a technical document to facilitate the use of Easy Extract with your clients so that we can provide that full trust and transparency of the tool's use for your clients. Okay, thank you so much. That is it from me for Probe, Audit International, and IDEA.
You that don't know me, my name is Ninka, and I'm the product manager for the financial statements. I'm going to take you through the changes that we've been making to the SME, IFRS, as well as XBRL. So firstly, we've made the changes to the trademarks. As you guys know, this was quite a contentious issue. We got quite a lot of feedback from that. So we made the changes to those. Then we made some changes to the tax computation, the cash and cash equivalent, as well as the cash flow worksheet, the PR score calc, IAS 21 that came into effect, as well as the XBRL update and some other small changes. I do want to refer you back to the release notes. You'll see we publish them on our community as well as having the PDFs available. So we really have all the detail in there for all the changes that has been made. And as soon as we release, you'll be able to find those on the community. So firstly, the change in the trademarks. As you guys know, we had that registered trademark that came out, and initially we didn't include it just because of formatting and what that would mean if you do different kinds of fonts. But after some market feedback, we really looked into it and decided we are going to add it to our default font that we have. And you must just confirm if you change your firm template font, that still work as expected. So we've changed this in a way also that you can update it on the information store, and then you've got all the different options available. We got quite a lot of market feedback on that, as well as from the regulators. And then you've got a drop down on all your instances in the file that you can change. So best practice would be is on the info store, change the one that you'll use most often. And then if you want your first one to look different, you can go into that page and you can go change it to be different. The reason why we didn't automate the first one to be a specific one is because you can order your pages. So your first one might not be the same as somebody else's. And also there is some different interpretations of, is it the first page, is the first instance on the page, or is it the first page of the financials? And for that reason, we've decided to leave it up to you that you have the flexibility as you need to. For the assurance reports, although we haven't made this work the same because SARBS 3 have a very specific way that it does indicate how this must show. So there it is the same one in all instances like the SARBS 3, but we did link all those cells. So meaning if you change it in one place in your audit report, it will change everywhere in your audit report. The other ones all work independently. So let me show you how that looks. I just want to open my info store. So let's go first to the financials. So if I go to my director's responsibility and approval, this is one of the examples you'll see here, it's the drop down. So it pulls through as that, but if I feel it should be one of the others, then I can go and change it here and it will update just that one. So you'll see the top one there still pulls through as that. I can also go and change that one if I want one to one of the others. If I go to my info store, I had a bit of a technical difficulty just before, so my screens are now switched around. So let me just get it there. You'll see we still have the basis of preparation here, which just doesn't pull through anywhere. It is to give you the option between entity specific and your framework, but then you have this different option here that you can choose drop down. So like I say, the first option would be here, go and select the one that you use most often. And then if there's any indication of one that you want to use differently, then you can go and change it in the financials. Then for SME and IFRS and SME Afrikaans, we have included all these options. Now, all of these come from the trademark guidance, as well as best practice, as well as I say, market feedback that we got. And although not all of them might be relevant to you, for example, if you don't use the IASB more than once, it wouldn't make sense to have to put that in brackets. So you might not have all of these relevant to you, but this is the feedback that we got that we have included for you. Then the next area is the tax computation. So the big change here is because of the deprecation of tax, we were able to relook at the tax computation, made some improvements, some feedback that we got, and also make it part of the financials. So what that means is all the functionality that you have in your financials is now also included in your tax computation. You have the same formatting, your input fields for permanent and temporary differences. You have a current year and prior year that you can switch off. I know we've got quite a lot of asks for that. And then we also have the signature area that you can use as per the rest of your financials. So again, let's quickly jump into that. So if I go to my tax comp, like you can see, if I just scroll up a little bit, there's my detailed income statement. And if I scroll down, there's my tax comp. You have your button here that you can tick, and then your prior year can switch off. And then you have your permanent differences that you can complete, your temporary differences. You also have still your assessed loss that gets calculated, that pulls through from your information store, and your small business. So the rest of it, very much cleaner. Because we don't have the tax products anymore, we won't maintain the tax codes in these products just because it doesn't pull through to any of our other tax products. And therefore, we've decided to make these input fields. You do also have still the reference column available here. An additional change that we've made is your assessed loss here. So if you're in South Africa, you have your this higher of $1 million or a taxable income of 80%. So this assessed loss brought forward pulls through from your information store, then it calculates it, and this 401 at the bottom here will then pull through back to your note. So if I just jump back to my income statement note, you'll see here that there's the 401 as well as the prior year figure. If you are not in South Africa, then that will switch off and it will just be your InfoStore figure that pulls through to your tax computation and then to your note. Right, then the cash and cash flow worksheet. So what we've done in the cash flow worksheet, we've included an input column the whole one column you'll see now is input. And the reason for that is because we have quite a lot of feedback of specific transactions that we try to guide in and not provide that line with the input. But because of a specific transaction or how you use the mapping, you actually do need that as an input field. So there's one column in your cash flow worksheet now that is an input column. Then we've also included the other lines to be to 5 other lines, just because, again, feedback that we got, but you wanted a bit more flexibility because it pulls from the worksheet. We also made sure that it prints correctly. I know there was some cases where if you print it, that some of the lines actually doesn't, it almost cuts off. So we've included that. And then if you chose your income statement by nature, it duplicated the cost of sales just because of the nature of switching between the nature and the function. So we've also corrected that formula. And then another change that I just want to show you is we've included these headings. This was an SME, it was already in IFRS. This was also some feedback that we got from one of our audit firms. And you can also see there the other lines above is the 1 to 5. That's now included everywhere. Then the PI score calculation, I'm going to jump straight into that to show you. So what happened originally is the PI score was originally for, here at the top was post-adjustment figures for if you do your, for your audit and all of that. And then when XBRL came in, we used the same calculation, but we realized this might cause a discrepancy. So now what we've done is at the top you have your planning or your prelim figures before journals, which will indicate your type of engagement. But then we also have, if you scroll down, you have your final figures that pull through after journals here, but you can use if you need to for some audit assessments, but also specifically for your XBRL that it pulls through correctly there. Then we have one new note, an IFRS only, and this is IAS 21. So, and in summary, the recent amendment was addressing the issue of the lack of exchangeability. It was issued in August 2023, and it will become effective, or it did become effective for years beginning 1 Jan 2025. So if you have a 2026 year end, then that is, December 2020, then it will become effective. So it is not going to affect a lot of clients. These amendments provide guidance on how to determine the spot rate exchange when currencies are not exchangeable. So this is our hyperinflation kind of environment. And although in the past IAS 29 addressed how to restate this, the IAS 21, like this change, addresses how to translate those into presentation currency. So it's really about the presentation of that. So, and if I jump quickly and show you just how that looks. So here you'll see your lack of exchangeability. So I just scroll down there a bit. Your note with some input and guidance. Then you have some tables. Again, some guidance on your estimation techniques, your risk, your foreign operations, and some tables at the bottom. So like I said, that is only applicable in IFRS. Then IXBRL. So IXBRL, we normally adopt the new taxonomy in round about now. It becomes effective from CWWP side on 1 October. But this year we have not adopted the new taxonomy. And the reason for that is because the new taxonomy already includes the new compliance changes that are still coming. The new SME standard, IFRS 18 and IFRS 19, and they've deprecated the old ones. So because the templates doesn't have this information in, it wouldn't make sense to use the new taxonomy. And CWWP does have a grace period that we can use the old taxonomy until that becomes effective. So therefore, we haven't made any taxonomy update, but we have made 1 or 2 changes on the mandatory page that I'll show you now. And then we also updated the location of where it is saved, just of ease of reference. So on the mandatory page, this is the question that we've updated. Now, in the past, it talked about, is your financial statement reviewed? But the challenge there was, if you said yes, then you normally got an error because you wouldn't want to, you got an error because the validation was actually not if it was reviewed, but it was if you have not been audited and then you are compiled or reviewed. So we've updated the question, we've made sure the name and the date of the reviewer is applicable. But do note, so if you have audited as your first question is true, and then you have independently compiled, then this will still be false because it is audited. So you must first answer your audited question and then this one, and that will ensure that you have a successful validation. As for the location, we did a cleanup a while ago on, I'm just going to open this file, on your, normally you used to get your XBRL file in there, but it became quite large and it caused also some issues. And then what we did is we put in the directory, but this caused another issue because it actually opened the file, and then if you had to copy it out, some of our clients were not sure how to do it. So what we've decided is actually just to put a hyperlink in here. If you double click on it, it will open your file, and then you can directly just copy it out your file location. So if I double click on that, it's just opening on the other screen, you'll see that there's the location of your file. If you do want to open, you can still double click and it will open. Otherwise, you can copy that and you can use that in your submission. Oh, sorry. Right. So that is our changes on XBRL. Then some other changes. So we have the preparer. So now on your preparer, you had two options. We added another option to say these financial statements were internally prepared under the supervision of, but under the supervision of is the new option. So that will be on your cover page and your index. So that's also some feedback that we got. And then if you select a reviewer's report, if you select an auditor's report, you get a sentence to say the following is unaudited, and then you have your detailed income statement and your tax company, etc. But if you have a review, then that sentence didn't show, or a similar sentence. So what we've done, we've included this sentence in your index as well as your detailed income statement, your footer, to say that it's not been reviewed, similar to when you have an audit. And then we have two new accounting policies for SMEs that, again, feedback that clients have asked us for. A member contribution if you are a closed corporation, and then if you are a cash and cash equivalent, is a new accounting policy for everybody. And then if you have a compilation report that to the trustees option, I'll show you that now, we've included that also as a default. And then, like I've mentioned, the audit report has been updated to SOPS 3. So the accounting policies that we have is, this is the member contribution one. Then we have the cash and cash equivalent that's applicable to everybody. And then to the trustees, that last screenshot is, it had in the drop down to the member and to everybody, but not to the trustees. So we've also included that. Then on the interim financials, we have also made one change. So as part of our interims, we always included a little bit more because although you only have to show what is material in that period, and according to IAS 34, we did from the beginning include like what we call a trial balance note to give you the detail of, say, trade receivable and how that's split up. Now for PPE and for our assets, we've included this as well as the recon, although not necessarily a requirement, but if it is material to you that you can show it. What we've added in this release was the rights of use, just the similar tables to have those available. We have received this just for consistency. Clients would like to have that as well for rights of use, and that is why we've included that as well. Then we have included environmental, social, and governance impact report. Now, ESG report is very topical. I've spoken to quite a lot of our clients, and all of our clients believe that this should not be part of our financials. So for that reason, we have not included as part of your financials. You might have it as part of your annual report, or you might have it as part of your integral report, but you won't have it as part of your financials. But the clients still ask if we can put something in that they at least can have the headers and a blank format. This is definitely not something that we feel we can at this stage templatize. But what we have done is we have included it. If I jump to you'll see environmental, social, and governance impact report. And if you open it, you'll see that it is, it's got your heading, it's got your company heading, like all your rest of your financials. And then you have also all the fields there that you can complete as you want to with a director's signature area. We have also brought the super insert over because we know you're going to customize this report quite extensively. So you're welcome to use the super insert to tailor this to your heart's content. Right, so with that, I'm quickly going to just see if there is any questions that's not answered. But it doesn't look like there is any. It looks like most of them have been answered by my team. So thank you for that. If there is any that we missed, I'll reach out to you, and you're also welcome to reach out to us if there's any further questions that you have in this regard. With that, I just want to say thank you firstly for joining us today. We have a few admin items that I would like to just chat through. The first one is we are very proud to announce that we have released our cloud IFRS financial statements as well as our IFRS review. I'm not going to talk about that in more detail today, but if you do want more information, you're welcome to reach out to your account manager for these new products that are available on the cloud. Then I do want to highlight again our support. We got quite some feedback from for our support and have made quite a lot of improvements on that. So the one thing that I do want to remind you of is that you do have your book or consultant function on our community, but you can book at a time that's suitable to you. And we also have extended hours from 7 to 7 for clients that maybe if in a different time zone, or if you early or late working, you're also welcome to reach out to our support team still then. Then I do want to just highlight our Get Ahead series for those of you that are not aware of it. Our Get Ahead we started with Get Ahead in 2024, and the focus was mostly on our first year intakes, but we had quite a lot of excitement around it. We had first year, second years, third years, and managers joining for this. So we're now going into our third year of presenting this, changing it each year up. If you're interested in Get Ahead 2025, all the recordings are available on our YouTube channel. All the recordings that we do for these webinars or any other webinars, you're also welcome to find there. And then our 2026 Get Ahead, we are working out currently, and we will send a mail out beginning November on all the details in regards to that as well. And then just a reminder, it's almost December holidays for those of you counting the days. We will have some limited support hours during December and then close between the 22nd and the 2nd, but you're still welcome to use the community for any questions. Right, so that's it from me. Thank you everybody for joining. I have